Hello, this is Dr. Dave Massac talking about reciprocity.com. The E is spelled with a 3. This is where I believe that every writer, every student should be able to get the feedback that they deserve so they can turn something where they're extremely anxious about into something that is amazing, and they can succeed and become very prolific. So in this particular video, I really wanted to talk about what is the most coolest, absolute, amazing moment of a business professor's career. For those of you who don't know, I actually am a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship. And I had one of the most remarkable moments of my career last week. And it was really super fascinating. And it's not something that you would imagine happens very often. And I'm going to tell you exactly what that is in this particular video. And then, get into why you might want to do some sort of career like this. It's really fun to be able to do that. So I used to think that the best moment in my career is where you observe, because you're in a classroom, right? You see all of these students and everybody looking at you, and you observe people have these eureka moments. And it's really neat to see that, where they're kind of following along and they don't really get what you're talking about. And then all of a sudden, there's kind of like a moment and their mind sort of flips and they're like, wow, this is really cool. And it usually maybe doesn't happen, within the first couple of classes, but usually about, the third or fourth class, it just sort of clicks, and then they start really liking the class and they start following along. It's a really neat moment to see that, where all of a sudden they're just like, wow, like there is some advice here that is phenomenal. But that actually happens a fair bit in this career. It is very rewarding, and I do appreciate it, and it's really neat to see. And it is remarkable, to be honest, to see those sort of mind flips in somebody else's mind. But what is the most amazing moment, and I was absolutely flattered, is when one of your students, your older students, you talk to, 4 or 5, 10 years out, and they come up to you. And so I was at this alumni event the other night, and that was a really neat thing. It was alumni dinner, and I was sitting there, and I was walking out. This one student, she came up to me, and she was like, "Hello, Dr. Maslach, do you remember me?" It was really sweet because she obviously took a lot of effort to come talk to me. She was all, it definitely takes a little bit of effort to go talk to one of your old professors and stuff like that. So it's really remarkable to see that. And I was absolutely flattered. And it turned out that this one particular person, she's absolutely killing it. She's doing amazing. Her career is taking off, and there's so much that is going on for her, that she worked really hard, and her career is just, it's skyrocketing at this moment. And I have really high hopes for this particular person. I always knew that she was a wonderful student. She was always very conscientious, or paid attention to class, and sort of got things, and it's just a really wonderful, sweet person. But what was really neat was to be able to talk to this particular person and sort of see that they were getting it, that they were truly getting what you were talking about in the classroom. And what is really neat is when you, as a professor, get those particular moments where, and it doesn't happen that often, right? It Maybe for me, it's maybe been about 5 times, and it's usually somebody will see me, or they'll reach out to me with a letter of recommendation or something like that a few years down the road. And I'm like, it's pretty flattering, right, to see that. But in this particular moment, it was really neat because I don't normally get to talk to students sort of one-on-one, but then I saw this particular student just, she was killing it. And I was so just is so just amazed on how that matters. And what's really neat is not necessarily those moments throughout the year and throughout the semester of, teaching somebody and getting those eureka moments, but then 5 years out, whether you actually had an impact. And I did ask her, and, obviously she's going to try to be very flattering to me, but I also think like some of the advice and some of the stuff like that actually did matter for her in terms of sort of seeing the world in a different way, which was so neat to see and to know that you had a little bit of influence on that particular outcome of that particular person, right? So this is the reason why I really don't like sort of teacher evaluations in any sort of way, because those teacher evaluations are based on a grind in the classroom, and that grind is you still have that sort of painful moment in your head when you're taking those teacher evaluations. And so the evaluation on sort of knowledge and the ability to retain things is not going to stick for very long. So you're going to have the painful moment rather than the reward at that particular moment, right? When you're actually doing teaching evaluations. So you got to wait until you're 5-10 years out that whether something actually stuck. And then you can evaluate the sort of the knowledge comprehension that you actually get, or that you, and sort of the effectiveness of a teacher at that moment. And B, the sort of the other thing I want to point out was that there's tremendous. What's really neat is this is a moment where all of the sort of effort that you put in as somebody that's teaching, all the effort that you put in, you actually get that outcome, but that doesn't happen for a very long time. So you don't know, whether you're actually doing the right thing right along the way. And then when something finally happens and you're like, wow, what's neat is knowing that your efforts are actually paying off, and you're sort of making a difference in somebody else's life. And then the last thing I really wanted to talk about, the sort of the coolest thing, is just knowing, I used to think, obviously we're all very self-interested and stuff like that with our careers, and we're trying to push, making us publish more, trying to write more and stuff like that. So I used to think that was the ultimate reward. And I've started to see things a lot differently in the last few years, that is not the ultimate reward. That's not what we're trying to do, is sort of publish more, or, look at, do more research and stuff like that. But it's actually looking at what is the sort of impact that you actually have with the stuff that you do, whether it is teaching, whether it is research and stuff like that. And that impact, you don't know what's going to happen with that impact until, 5-10 years out. So it's really neat to see that. It's a lot more being a business professor's, business professor is very, very altruistic in a lot of different ways. And people don't normally think of that. In what you should do, and I truly believe this, that what you should do is sort of look at this sort of altruism and why you're actually doing this, that you're actually trying to give back in various different ways. And that giving back is making people sort of change their minds about something, or look at the world in a different way, sort of getting these mind flips, right? Or producing research that allows sort of a broader audience to change their mind and view something in a different way. All that kind of stuff is truly rewarding, and it really is an altruistic career. But of course, we're all very self-interested in sort of pushing our things and pushing our agendas and stuff like that. So, it's not me who's particularly altruistic, but it's sort of the altruism is the community. It's the whole of what we do as faculty. It's really neat to be able to do that. And, that's one of the really cool things of being able to do this career. It's a huge highlight of this career. It has nothing to do with status, has nothing to do with making money and all that kind of stuff, but it's really having an impact on somebody else's life, and really realizing that impact is, and it does benefit people in a positive way, to get them to think creatively and critique things and stuff like that. So it's amazing to be part of this system that we call academia, and I do appreciate it, and it truly is a blessing to be part of, that other people's careers and lives, and to meet all of these people. It's a really wonderful, cool thing that we've created that we have this sort of outlet in being able to do those kind of things. So with that, thank you so much for following along with these YouTube videos. In fact, that's one of the really cool things with YouTube videos is I can reach a much broader audience and help a lot more people. And I do appreciate that. And that's actually why I'm creating the whole reciprocity project, is because I firmly believe in that. The more I give, the more I, give away and stuff like that, the better off that people are going to be. And, maybe eventually, years and years down the road, something might come back like that. And that was definitely one of these moments where I'm like, crap, that's awesome. Cool. That's if you look at my old video about reciprocity, it's a form of generalized reciprocity where, you give and give and give, and finally something comes back to you, which is really cool. So thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.